In this session, we're going to talk about the safety risk management process after the risk assessment. So in the previous video, which I'll link up here and down below, we talked about the risk assessment and where loss of control in flight lives, and it lives as an intolerable risk that needs to be mitigated. So today, what I want to do is I want to get back to those original graphics and show you how they overlay on the existing system. But before we do that, remember, as a pilot, are you prepared to deal with an unexpected airplane upset event on its way to a fatal loss of control in flight accident? That is always our underlying question, so let's jump right in. Okay, folks, let's go ahead and get going on this process of now taking the risk assessment, which we just did, and talked at a high level about risk mitigation to see what that looks like and where it lives on our graphic. So if you remember from the previous video, we looked at the existing system as shown here. All right, go back and review that, and again, we'll make sure that you have links to that video down in the description. Along the top is the layers of upset prevention and recovery training implementation. The bottom are layers of mitigation. We propagate from left to right. So this is the existing training system right now that perpetuates loss of control in flight as the #1 threat to air safety. And the industry is trying to implement upset prevention and recovery training represented by that vertical orange line. The problem is, even though it knows what to do, it doesn't actually know how to do it to create the paradigm shift for pilots to be transformed, be able to mitigate, recognize, prevent, and recover from airplane upsets. So what does that solution look like? Well, I want to tell you a quick story because in 2019, we had just spent years and years, starting in about 2010, got together with 40 organizations, 80 experts around the world to help the drafting of the ICAO manual and upset prevention recovery training. We had the honor of drafting the first couple versions of that. Then it rolled out in 2014 with a 5-year adoption period, and so FAA did a great job creating excellent regulation. All the advisory circulars 111, 120, 111, 120, 111, 109A, 111, 123. ATP, CTP are great resources, and EASA, they rolled out the program over there. And in 2019, what we found was, is despite the very best intentions of the industry, despite us spending all those years working together with these experts on what to do, it was absolutely clear that they did not know how to do it. And when you think back on it, that really shouldn't be a surprise. Because a paradigm shift in training is required to train this area that is dominating loss of control or dominating fatalities in aviation, we shouldn't be surprised that the existing instructor group doesn't know how to teach it. So what ended up happening in 2019 is they were teaching what they did before under a new name called upset prevention and recovery training. And it was very clear, even announced in 2023 at the Global UPRT Summit by the FAA, that that implementation was making no difference in training. Now, on the other side of it, airlines that APS partnered with, for example, were seeing a 50% reduction, massive improvements. And so it became clear to us that the how is what really matters now that we know what it is. So what we released in 2019 was the Every Pilot in Control Solution Standard. It lives right on top of the existing implementation of upset prevention recovery training, and is the how a provider can optimize their ability to deliver an effective program. And there's 5 components to it, with a 6th being the training program design. So it starts with elite instructors, then it does integrated training, then intensity of training. It talks about implementing best practices and purpose-built platforms, robust initial training with the outside ring, and then recurrent training on the inner ring for every pilot to be in control. And that was rolled out in 29, freely available to the entire industry. And what it did is it accomplished 2 main things. Number 1, it vastly improved the ability for the pilots to be aware of, take action on, recognize, and use all of their mitigation processes before arriving at the airplane upset. Because remember, it's airplane upset prevention, that's to the left, and recovery to the right. As we talked about, at the airplane upset occurrence, recovery is now the last line of defense, and pilots need robust skill sets and ability to be functional in crisis. They need to have a resilience to take effective action, and there's a process by which to deliver that works, and then there's a way the industry was doing it and still is, which doesn't make any difference. So the implementation of the Every Pilot in Control Solution Standard has the ability to transform the effectiveness of training programs like we saw with the Delta study. The Delta study with APS showed a 50% reduction, recently 60% reduction in exposure to airplane upset precursor events. And the United Airlines study, a 3-year study, showed a 400% increase in competency in recognition, prevention, and recovery from airplane upset events. So it's really, really exciting that this is the process that is possible with effective, correct training to transform pilots on every flight, and not just a little bit. A 50% reduction in exposure, a 400% increase in competency in just 3 days, unprecedented, never heard of before in aviation. So remember, as part of the safety risk management process, what we're really talking about now is risk mitigation. That's the purpose of the Every Pilot in Control Solution Standard, to put this risk mitigation of upset prevention recovery training done right on steroids to transform the aviation industry. So, as we talked about earlier, this is what the statistics look like, all right? So an effective transformational paradigm shift program can drive down these risks. Effective academic training, drive down even more. Effective on-aircraft training, drive down even more effective simulator training. And that's the paradigm shift. But remember, where we are now is the existing system is not every pilot in control, it's every pilot not in control. It's all red because the existing system is perpetuating loss of control in flight to the #1 threat to air safety. But a program done right can take us from red to green in just 3 days, and those arrows are not an exaggeration in a properly implemented program. So my point is, it can be done, it's proven, it's been measured, it happens all the time at expert organizations like we see here at APS. So this is really possible, it's just not pie in the sky. So I'm excited to talk to you more and more about this entire process of transforming aviation safety.